利权分合与治乱轮回，中国商人参政的千年谱系 The division and integration of interests and the cycle of order and chaos. A millennium genealogy of merchant political participation in China in Yan. Introduction. From the boom of industry and commerce and deliberation of the four socialist states in the Spring and Autumn and Warring States periods, to the constitutional transformation and state building led by scholar merchants in the late Qing dynasty, the political participation of the Chinese merchant class has evolved through 3,000 years of dynastic rise and fall. It has shaped 5 major forms: institutional policy consultation, capital intervention in governance, power dependency, violent resistance, and overseas self-governance, all closely tied to dynastic stability and institutional evolution. Based on official histories and classics including Zuo Zhuan, Records of the Grand Historian, History of the Han Dynasty, Book of Jin, Old Book of Tang, History of the Song Dynasty, History of the Yuan Dynasty, Ming Veritable Records, Draft History of the Qing Dynasty, and Discourses on Salt and Iron, this article integrates scholarship by Chinese historians such as Qian Mu, Chen Yingke, Tian Yuqing, Li Jian, and overseas sinologists including John King Fairbank, Frederick Wakeman Jr., William T. Rowe, and Timothy Brooke. IT constructs a complete narrative of merchant political engagement across dynasties, verifying the historical law. Shared interests bring cooperation and stability. Monopolized interests breed conflict and fragmentation. 1. 先秦滥觞，相效议政开先河，稷下与吕不韦成双元。I origins in the pre-Qin period. Township school consultation as precedent. Jai Xia Academy and LUB UWEI as dual sources. The earliest institutional origin of merchant political participation in China traces to Zikan's defense of the township schools in the state of Zheng. The Zuo Zhuan records that villagers gathered in township schools to critique governance, and Zikan refused to abolish them, stating they served as a source of policy guidance. These schools were public forums for the state peoples, including merchants. WHO debated taxation, border tariffs, and diplomacy. A state founded on trade, Zheng relied heavily on merchant voices, making this moment the origin of popular deliberation in China. In the Warring States period, the Jixia Academy of the State of Qi elevated this tradition to a state-level advisory institution. Qi's coastal commerce made Lindsay a major commercial hub. Merchant scholars of salt, iron, and cross-border trade debated state policies alongside Confucian, Taoist, and legalist thinkers, enjoying the privilege of discussing without holding office. Meanwhile, the great merchant Lu Buwei exemplified capital intervention in dynastic succession. Investing his fortune in the Qin prince Yiren, he engineered his ascent to the throne and later became Qin's prime minister, embodying a peak of merchant-to-ruler transformation that would rarely recur after China's unification. 2. 两汉定调盐铁会议，古典经济议政的类制宪高峰。2. The Han Dynasty Framework, the Salt and Iron Conference, a quasi-constitutional summit of classical economic deliberation. Under the Han Dynasty, merchant political participation took shape through imperially convened court debates. In 81 BCE, the Salt and Iron Conference gathered over 60 scholars, literati, and local merchant representatives to debate state monopolies with Minister Sang Hongyang. Recorded in Huang Quan's Discourses on Salt and Iron, the conference opposed official profiteering at the people's expense and demanded relaxed trade controls. Historians view this assembly as a proto-constitutional debate that defined the boundary between state and private economic rights. The resulting compromise abolished some monopolies and established a balance between legalist state control and Confucian pro-market principles. 3. 魏晋南北朝至隋，门阀商政，胡商纵横与乱世用商。 3. From Wei, Jin, southern and northern dynasties to Sui. Aristocratic merchant politics, Sogdian merchants, and wartime utilization of commerce. As unified Han rule collapsed, aristocratic clans dominated politics and merged political privilege with commercial control. Tian Yuqing argued in The Aristocratic Politics of Eastern Jin that Eastern Jin's aristocratic order rested on a cycle. Clans used power to protect commerce, and commerce funded political power. Elite clans monopolized INNS, PAWNSHOPS, mountain resources and water transport, exercising de facto economic governance without formal merchant offices. In the northern dynasties, Sogdian merchant confederations became transnational political economic actors. Tian Yuqing noted in studies in Tuoba history that Sogdian merchants supplied military funds, intelligence, and diplomatic liaison to Xianbei regimes, becoming a unique model of foreign merchant political integration. Warlord regimes across China used merchants for revenue and logistics but denied them formal political representation, a pattern of utilizing merchants without empowering them. The SUI reunification revived canal transport and commercial regulation, laying groundwork for Tang's state merchant cooperation. 4. 唐代极盛，官商分立定型，议政与抗争的双重变奏。IV. Zenith in the Tang Dynasty. Institutionalized profit, sharing and the dual paths of consultation and resistance. Tang's commercial prosperity brought institutionalized cooperation between state and merchants. Early Tang allowed merchants to enter officialdom via examination, donation, or military merit. Financial agencies regularly consulted merchants on market and tax policies. After the Anlushan Rebellion, Liu Yang reformed the salt monopoly into a system of state production, merchant transport, and merchant sales, boosting revenue without crushing private trade. By contrast, his predecessor Wu Qi's harsh full-state monopoly alienated merchants and destabilized society. In late Tang, tightened salt controls pushed legitimate salt merchants into rebellion, exemplified by Huang Chao. Frederick Wakeman Jr. observed that excessive state monopoly turned lawful traders into rebels, a recurring pattern in Chinese dynastic decline. Warlords also relied on merchant taxes and logistics, creating regional power sharing between military governors and merchants.